Hi, welcome to another episode of How to Home Fix. Hey, today we're going to be talking about just how to sweat a copper pipe. It's really not that hard to do. People make more out of it than it really is. It's good to know in case you have a burst pipe in your home, which we've had a lot with this cold weather that's really hit the country. We've had a lot of burst pipe calls. So we're going to teach you just real quickly how to sweat a pipe. Also good if you ever add plumbing in the house. It's a good thing to know. So we're going to teach you real quick on how to sweat a pipe. Now, first thing is we've got this little mock pipe set up, and here's where we're going to join them together. Now, whether you're using a sleeve just to join the pipes, or whether you're running different plumbing, you might use a T or a 90 or what have you. There's a lot of different fittings you can use, but for today we're just going to use a sleeve just to join the pipe so you can see how to sweat the pipe. First thing you're going to need is a couple of tools. You're going to need some emery cloth, which is basically sandpaper for pipes. It's really good. It's it's real thick. It'll work in water and everything else. You could also pick up one of these. It's basically pipe cleaner. It's good for a 1/2 inch or 3/4 pipe. And you're going to need a little brush. You're going to need some solder, and you're also going to need a little bit of flux paste. Now you can pick up a kit that will have flux paste, solder. You're also going to need a torch. You can generally pick up a kit with the torch, the flux paste, the brush for about $20 at the store. It'll save you quite a bit on having to call a plumber who's going to charge you $20 just for the phone call. So go ahead and pick up the tools you need, and that's pretty much all you're going to need to go ahead and sweat a pipe. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to do is clean the pipe. So we want to make sure both ends are clean so that when the solder hits, it actually does connect to the pipe, and there's no dirt on the outside, oil, grease, what have you. So we're going to either use sandpaper, which I'll show you how to use that. Just tear off a little piece like so, and we will just run it around the end of the pipe. Until the pipe is nice and clean. You can see how shiny that is on the end. Nice and clean there. It got off any kind of debris that would keep the solder from adhering to the pipe. And then we're going to also do the same thing with the other side. Okay, nice and clean there. And if you have any burrs on the end of the pipe, just run it real quick on the end of the pipe. Get rid of any burrs. If you did pick up one of these pipe cleaners, it's good for I think it's less than $5, and it's really good for. It's also got attachments on the end where you can take your fittings and run it in the middle and clean out the inside of the fitting as well. Because remember, the pipe is going on the inside of this fitting, so you want to make sure there's no factory, grease or residue inside there. All right, the next thing we're going to do is take our flux paste, and flux actually, all it does is help the solder adhere to the pipe. So you definitely want to use this, and take your brush and just get a good amount of flux on the brush, and then just go ahead and paint each pipe where you've cleaned it. Just a thin layer is good enough. You don't have to have a ton of flux on there. Just a thin layer all the way around. And I like to hit the inside of whatever fitting I'm doing too, just for the heck of it, just to make sure I get a nice seal on my pipe. And then all we're going to do is dry fit them together. And by the way, most fittings have a stopper. You can see on this one, it's got a little ring in the middle. That's basically a stopper. There's a little ridge in the middle. It'll stop the pipe halfway so that you get both pipes halfway into the pipe. Make sure they're, push them in so make sure they're fit all the way in. Okay, and then we're all ready to go ahead and solder. Alright, we have our pipe put together and we've got our solder. Pick a medium width solder. You don't need anything serious. Most home pipes are going to be 1/2 inch for most of your supply lines. Some might be 3/4 when you get down to the basement with the water heater and things. But just a medium thickness solder is good enough for most home work. And then you get your torch, and with our flux paste already on there, we just go ahead and start heating it up. And this is where you want to take your time. Now plumbers will have different torches and things like that, but don't worry about it. You're just doing this for a one-time shot or maybe a one-time renovation. You don't need to invest a whole lot in tools. This $20 torch kit is just fine. We just want to heat the pipe up enough to where the solder is going to melt immediately as soon as it hits. And so you say, how do you know when it's enough? Well, all you do, you take your flame away and touch the solder to the opposite side of where your flame is, and it's not melting yet. And here it started to melt. We can see it starting to melt, so we take our flame away, continue to heat it. You can move the flame here, and there we have a nice solder seam. Now while we've got it nice and hot, we're going to go ahead and hit the other side. And that flux runs that solder all the way around the seam, so you don't have to worry about trying to get up underneath it or anything like that. What I like to do, soldered it, we're just going to get a damp rag and just run a damp rag around it real quick. Makes it look nice and pretty. Okay, and that's really all there is to sweating or soldering, whatever you want to call it, a copper pipe. Now, the only thing you want to look for is look at the solder seam and look for any cracks missing. You know, the solder didn't take or whatever. And if it didn't, then go ahead and do it one more time. And if it still doesn't take, then maybe you didn't clean the pipe right or anything like that. But really, that's all there is to it. When you do repressurize the pipe, turn the water on slowly, check for leaks. If you do have leaks, turn the water off, drain the pipe, and repeat the process. Hey, thanks for watching. This has been another episode of a How-To Home Fix. For more great little solutions for home repairs, go to us at www.howtohomefix.com. Thanks. Have a great day.